Shalom, 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 shalom. First and foremost, giving infinite praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Ruchakudash. Giving double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shalom and salutation to all you sincere Akim across the four winds, pushing this truth with sincerity of heart. I'm your fellow servant, Kasama Gan from the DC camp, coming at you through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Achakwadash, feed the elect. All right, so this is another edition of the Drums of Liberation. All right, as you know, the Drums of Liberation is basically the part two of the Watchtower. All right, so the Drums of Liberation is about hearing the sounds of freedom, the sounds of salvation, meaning going into prophecy. All right, going into prophecy, measuring the times according to the Bible, looking at what's being circumspect socially, economically, all right, spiritually, on all levels, all right, because basically the nation of Israel, so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, beginning with the elect, the 1/3, all right, the 144,000 and the remaining of the elect. What we are waiting for the return of our Lord and Savior, Yahushua HaMashiach, whom the world has ignorantly known as Jesus Christ. All right. His name is Yahushua, and he's a so-called black man from the tribe of Judah. And that's who we basically are waiting for. All right. And he said that he was going to show us signs of the times and signs to show that he's basically on his way back. Now, the title of this lesson or video, it's going to be doom spending. All right. When your wallet predicts the apocalypse. And I like that title because there is a phenomenon going on, which basically it's something that's happening. It's something that's been happening since the economy basically imploded back in 2019, 2020, when COVID was, during the COVID era, businesses were basically destroyed. The middle class was destroyed. A lot of things that happened basically destroyed this economy for good. And now what's going on is that the average Babylonian, all right, Babylon being the United States, according to the Bible, Babylon the Great is the United States. So the average citizen of Babylon is basically living off their savings. It took them a while to finally understand that this is just a death spiral, and it's just a matter of time before this thing blows up. And no politician is going to save you. There's no salvation for Babylon and the Babylonians. Only the elect of Israel is going to be saved. So now what they're doing, what the majority of people are doing, they're just spending and just saying, fuck it. All right. They're just going to use their credit cards, do all the spending, and then get ready for the Mad Max, Mad Max to kick in, basically. All right, so that's what's going on. First, without further ado, let's go. And that's great news. All right, that's that's the title, "The Drums of Liberation," because those are signs that the freedom of the nation of Israel is closer. All right, we getting ready to be delivered. All right, the amazing, powerful Babylon, these United States of America, the greatest empire known to men, is finally collapsing. And it could finally collapse in a rapid rate. And the people within the castle have given up. And that's what the Lord has always done in the past. All right. It happened in Jericho. When we circled around Jericho, then the people in Jericho gave up. Their heart got weak. So, that's why the Lord wanted us to be patient. Now, through the financial article I'm going to read, you're going to find out that the Babylonians have given up. So it's almost time for the nation to this country to collapse. Now let's deal with the word doom. All right, since the title is doom spending. Doom means law. All right, and that's basically, you can read the different words that come up, but basically doom means law. All right, so why is it law? Because it's the day of judgment, and during the day of judgment, justice. Judgment, justice, and equity. The scripture speaks about how our Lord Yahushua will bring forth justice, judgment, justice, and equity and righteousness. All right. And that's why it's the day of doom. It's the day when the law is established. All right. So Yahushua he's going to put down the law, And once he put down the law, once he executes the law, basically the Israelites, the Israelites that are under the law that are not covered by his blood will be put to death, and the nations, according to the law, will be enslaved. All right, because according to the law, these nations, beginning with Edom, Esau, the so-called white man, they have to go into slavery. All right, because they enslaved the nation of Israel. So according to the law, they must go to slavery. Now, the 2/3 out of the nation of Israel, they can't go to slavery because according to the law, you're not supposed to enslave your brother. So for their sins, the majority of Israel have to be put to death. Okay, that's why the word doom, or doomsday, it means the day of the law. Now, let's go to this article. This is money.usnews.com. All right. And this is dated May 24, 2024. And it says, what is doom spending and how can you avoid it? Of course, a typical Babylonian, they want to avoid it because they know what that means. But us, we know is exactly what's going on. All right. This is a downward spiral. All right. It's ancient Rome collapsing. It's all these major empires that have collapsed in the past is happening to Babylon the Great live. Now, it says high inflation and interest rates are squeezing the budgets of Americans, sometimes driving them to stress spend. All right. That's why you see right now there's a record level of people buying homes, although the housing market is collapsing. And you see the majority of the people that are basically crying on TikTok are women, because women are the biggest spender. They like I think all the spending in America, 80% of the spending in the United States is made around women, by women and around women, meaning women spending on themselves and then men spending for or because of women. So 80% of the spending that goes on is surrounds women. And as you know, the United States government, part of the feminist movement and all that was to make sure women were able to spend, were able to leave the subjugation of their husbands so they can spend freely and frivolously. So, and for the taxation purposes, for more revenue. All right. So it wasn't about freedom of women and all that. We know that was just a financial move. And these women are living to regret that, which it is what it is. And the men that allowed that, the men that allowed their women to be to basically to not be under subjugation, they're also suffering because now their nation is collapsing. All right, so it's great. All right, two birds and one stone, beautiful. Now let's keep going, and it says doom spending. Doom spending refers to a phenomenon that occurs when people spend money to cope with stress, despite concerns about the economy and foreign affairs. All right. You have these cars, like the car dealership, like the car market is crazy. Like I'm sitting and I'm not the only one, right? There's a lot of people that I've talked to, even brothers, where I'm looking at my car currently, and I'm like, the mileage is high, the thing is breaking down, but I'm looking at these prices and I'm like, man, who's buying this garbage? You know what I'm saying? Who's buying it? But people still buying these cars. All right. A lot of people getting repo, but a lot of people, still going out buying these cars. People are not really worried about savings. The whole having savings, people know the retirement's not going to happen. They know Social Security is finished. So basically the Babylonians have given up, and right now they're basically going into self-destruction, what's called financial self-destruction, which is called doom spending. All right. It says doom spending refers to a phenomenon that occurs when people spend money to cope with stress, despite concerns about the economy and foreign affairs, according to a 2023 study by Qualtrics on behalf of Intuit Credit Karma. You might, for example, worry because you don't have enough money to pay your bills, save, and have fun. As a result, you may skip the saving step and splurge on a shopping spree to make yourself feel better, right? So that's what it's about now. It's not about the future, because the majority of Babylonians, the majority of Americans are realizing, sitting in, that there is no future. So it's all like the mindset now. Now, a couple of them, they still want to put their hopes on Trump, which is a waste of time, but it is what it is, right? But for the most part, the majority of Americans in the middle, right? They understand that this thing is over. There's no answers. There's no future. So they're just gonna go out with a bang and just splurge out, and until the Mad Max scenario basically take place. And this is great news for us. This is wonderful news. All right, the Babylonians have given up. It says you. No, it says it sounds. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Doom spending is trending in the U.S. Here's a closer look at who it's affecting most, the causes, and how experts say you can avoid it. Younger generations are leading the doom spending charge. All right. The Intuit Credit Karma study found that a little more than a quarter, 27% of all Americans doom spend to cope with stress, including 35% of Gen Zers and 43% of millennials. Now, I am a millennial, and I see that all the time. I mean, the majority of cats in my generation, are basically, doom spenders. I mean, the dudes I grew up with, so-called grew up with, and all that. These dudes, they're not set up in families. These dudes are still out there. They're still out there clubbing, man. They're still out there. They travel, Dubai and all that. Like, they're still living like they were in their 20s. All right, they're still living like when we were like teenagers. Right? These dudes don't have families. They don't have future set up. Like, some of these dudes old enough to be grandfathers, but they're out there, still chilling with the teenage, living that teenage lifestyle. All right. They don't want to give it up because why? Because it's doomsday. All right. People don't want to actually talk about it, but you don't have to say anything. You don't have to tell me that, hey, I believe this thing is over. I could just look at the way you spend and the fact that you don't give a damn about your future anymore. And that speaks volume. All right. Because as far as like fronting, don't sit here and expect a lot of these people to come out and finally acknowledge that the ride is over. All right, because one thing about the Babylonians and the Americans is the pride that they have will not let them acknowledge that the ride is over, basically. But follow the money. Follow the money. Many young people are discouraged right now. Housing prices are very high. I talked about that. Both rent and purchasing, even rent is crazy. If you're going out there looking for crazy ass apartment and rent, you out of your mind, bro. You out here looking to get a house, unless you got a great deal and you know what you're doing, you have no business, man. It is bad out there, man. It is terrible. All right. People are getting crushed, and they out there on TikTok crying and stuff. Male and females, not just the women. Now, the majority of them are women because, again, women are the weaker vessel. They don't know what they're doing, right? If society says jump off a cliff, they'll jump off a cliff. So, but the men have also followed suit. And they're getting destroyed economically. So, for us, it's a beautiful sight because our enemies are falling. All right? They're falling. They're collapsing. It says, let me go back. It says, many young people are discouraged right now. Housing prices are very high, both rent and purchasing. I've heard many millennials and Gen Zers say they don't know So Gen Zers say they know they'll never be able to afford a home of their own. You see that? And the Gen Zers, they out there talking on TikTok, and they clearly say, hey, listen, I'll never be able to afford a home. I mean, the average homes in a lot of these cities, because the Gen Zers don't want to live in a countryside where you can get a house for like, 70,000, 100,000. They want to live in the city or near the city. And these homes like 400,000 and above. All right. So and a lot of them were raised to be hardcore individuals. So this is really Gen Zers have the lowest levels of relationships, meaning they're not bringing in two incomes. Same as millennials. They're not together. There's no relationships. There's no marriages. There's really no cohabitations. But in today's economy, you need a dual income. And people trying to do everything on their own, and they're getting absolutely devastated. So this is a beautiful thing what's happening right now, right? And And this is, of course, we know the Rothschilds, the elites. This is part of their plan to collapse Babylon economically. But ultimately, this is the spirit of the Lord. This is scripture. All right, so it says, let's keep going. It says, Kendall Mead, a certified financial planner at SoFi, said in an email, she explained that many younger folks also have student loan payments and are so overwhelmed that they just spend whatever's left each month instead of saving it. And if you know anything, like, first of all, this article is so true, because if you go out, when you go out, bars, and then the little party scene or whatever, from time to time, you'll notice that the economy is kicking these people to ashes, but the rest of their money, they just splurging out there. All right. It's not a lot of, listen, the majority of people that you see out and about at nighttime and all that, having fun, clubbing and all that, like a good 90% of them are miserable. That's how they cope. All right. They blow money on alcohol, drugs, clothes, shopping, frivolous shopping, because deep inside they know it's over. All right. They know it's over. All right. The family aspect is not coming back. Dual dual ownership of a house, dual income, it's not coming back. There's no relationships. There's a gender war going on in the United States, male versus females, which that's all set up by the Rockefeller. It's a beautiful spirit of divide on a political level, economical level, generational level, gender levels. This is magnificent what the Heavenly Father has done to this place. Let's read some more. It says, these cohorts have come of age in a period marked by economic instability, stagnant wages, and increasing living costs, which can lead to heightening financial anxiety. Like Karen Bursky, a partner of managing director of retirement security at Cornerstone Financial Services, said in an email. All right. He added that younger individuals often lack the financial literacy or long-term perspective. What the hell? Satan. Come on, man. Gotta put those ads in there. Where we at? Just bear with me. Okay, there you go. It says he added that younger individuals often lack the financial literacy and long-term perspective needed to resist impulse spending, especially when faced with the immediacy of stresses. All right. Yeah, because they don't have help. They don't have help. The United States, with the middle class was built upon business owners' families. And once you destroy the family unit, and you put women out there, to be used and abused by the banks and all the corporations, it was a wrap. And those corporations was able to bind the strong man, meaning, emasculate the men. So, it's beautiful work. It's beautiful work. Like I always said, I used to be really upset, and I used to be mad at feminism. And also, the weak men that fell for feminism. But that's because I wasn't really looking at it from like a bird's eye view. But when you really put yourself aside and how it's affecting you on the individual level, and you look at the bird's eye view, feminism was a cancer that was a blessing. It was a cancer that the Lord put upon Babylon to destroy this place from within, to push forward the deliverance of the nation of Israel. Now, of course, it destroyed our women as well, but it is what it is, right? Ultimately, it's destroying the whole land. So it's a beautiful thing. So now let's go to the scriptures. And again, this article is really some more you can read on that, but that was the gist of it. If you're aware of what's going on, that's what's going on, man. A lot of these people that you see out here spending, what they're doing is called doom spending. All right. And inflation is kicking their ass. Look, I'm going to read one more paragraph. This is so good. This is so good. It says, what is fueling doom spending? Nearly all Americans, 96%, are concerned about the current state of the economy, and 2/3 say it's giving them anxiety, according to the study. Some of the most pressing stresses include inflation, the inability to afford necessities, yeah, going into debt, and not having money to spend on things that bring happiness. See, it's all about that happiness, you know. It's all about the happiness. They're not happy no more, man. The Babylonians are not happy. I mean, this right here, man. Man, listen, man. This is so wonderful. Cause I remember coming up into this truth, man. The first 3 years, it dawned on me. I was like, I thought about it, I meditated. Cause a couple of things was going on, but it just dawned on me a while back. I probably said like the second year when I knew that this was gonna be a long battle of attrition. And to me, it always came down to the economy. I was like, man, all these different things can happen. Even the microchip, the mark of the beast. I was like, man, if this economy don't collapse, forget about the mark of the beast, bro. Ain't nobody taking. People are not gonna be flocking to the mark of the beast when they could just afford necessities and they could just live lavishly off the dollar and everything. Nah, this economy was always gonna be it. That was the one I always look towards and be like, this is what you gotta look for. All right. Forget about all that other stuff you should see. Focus on the economy. And we're finally here. This is Zephaniah 1 and 10 on the NLT in the States. On that day, saith the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, a cry of alarm will come from the fish gate. Remember that? The anxiety, instability. Uh-oh. A cry of alarm will come from the fish gate and echo throughout the new quarter of the city. And a great crash will sound from the hills. All right, so you're going to have a crash. Verse 11, wail in sorrow, all you who live in the market area, for all the merchants and traders will be destroyed. All right. Hey, man, this is going down. All right. So the Bible prophesied about a massive economical collapse. Now, this is Jeremiah chapter 51 in the NLT. And we're going to go to... We're gonna jump down to 6. All right. It says, flee from Babylon, save yourselves. Don't get trapped in her punishment. It is the Lord's time for vengeance. He will repay her in full. All right. Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, a cup that made the whole earth drunk. The nations drank Babylon's wine, and it drove them all mad. But suddenly Babylon too has fallen, and that's what's happening. Weep for her, give her medicine. Perhaps she can yet be healed. We would have helped her if we could. I mean, they try everything, man. They try everything for this economy, but it was doomed. But nothing can save her now. Let her go. Abandon her. Return now to your own land, meaning your own belief, your own people, your origins. For her punishment reaches to the heavens. It is so great it cannot be measured. Yeah, I mean, if you're just talking about, man, the human trafficking, that goes on into this place, man, that's something it's tough to talk about. Children, boys and girls that just disappear and they get violated and molested and raped, in dungeons, and they're crying and nobody can hear them. No, it's tough when you think about these things, right? And then you think about the women that lined up in droves to murder their children in the womb, and they laugh about it. I was just in a conversation the other day with one of my coworkers, nigga woman, and then she talked about how she deleted 2 of her babies, and she's like, well, they were fetuses, they weren't babies. I didn't feel no type of way. There's no attachment. It was pride. And I'm just like, but then again, I was like, I've seen that woman turn into a whole demon plenty of times. She got multiple demons on her. She calls it multiple personalities with different names. I don't really try to, but I know what's going on. She's dead inside. It's a lot of women like that, man. This place has got to go, man. These people are absolutely out of their minds. Let's close out with the book of 2nd Ezra, the Apocrypha, 2nd Ezra chapter 7 and 40. I'm going to start at 42. And it says, he answered me and said, this present life is not the end where much glory doth abide. Therefore have they prayed for the weak. I mean, you got to read the whole chapter to kind of go into, what he was talking about. But it goes towards the end of the end of days, right? Verse 43, and it says, but the day of doom, right? Speaking of doom spending, the day of doom shall be the end of this time. All right. At the time, that's what we living in, the time of Revelation. We are fully entrenched in the book of Revelation right now. And it is so obvious. All right. The day of doom shall be the end of this time and the beginning of the immortality for to come, wherein corruption is past, intemperancy is at an end, infidelity is cut off, righteousness is growing, and truth is sprung up. All right, and that's what's going on. I mean, as wickedness is rising, righteousness is also rising in the same time to meet at a climax, and we are reaching a climax where you're going to see high levels of wickedness, just gore and death and just cruelty. But in the same token, you're going to see high levels of righteousness and spiritual powers. It's going to be crazy, man. It's going to be crazy. It says, verse 45, then shall no man be able to save him that is destroyed, nor to oppress him that has gotten the victory. All right. And the victory is going to belong to who? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua and the elect of the nation of Israel. And this ends the lesson. All right.
Because we all live together on this
again,
planet.
the drums of liberation.
Anybody tell me what to do?
What is that? I don't know if you can hear it. That's probably that's
here.
It's in the background. That's Alex Jones, talking. But with that, hey, Carl Halab, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, double honors to our apostles and elders of great millstone. Alex Jones, all you got to stay with the news, baby.
Boy, have I learned.